Hi guys, and welcome back to the podcast. We're season 3, episode 4 this week. So we're getting along, and hopefully we're getting better at them. Not so awkward.
We try. No promises.
My name's Dave.
And I'm Ori. Still crippled.
And still crippled.
Yep.
And we've got with us. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Joe Bell.
Welcome.
Welcome, Joe.
Our tattooist. Tattooist.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Joe tattoos at the cabin here. We put him in the back room because he's not as good looking as the front room.
And he smells.
He smells. All right, so we're going to hit Joe up with a few questions on his kind of bit of the time at the cabin and his career as well, and then Joe's going to stay for the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
You want to hit him up with the first question?
Yeah. So the first question is: do tattoos hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah. You sure?
Do you want a longer answer?
Yeah. Explain.
Yes, tattoos hurt.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Thank you.
Yeah. In what respect are you asking that? What do you mean?
Well, it's just the first question because a lot of people, we get people come in store up to the desk asking us, do tattoos hurt? And it's always sometimes there's a stereotypical answer of they don't tickle, and
It's actually the name of the segment.
it is also,
Do
yeah.
tattoos hurt?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes, I do.
bit tongue in cheek.
Thanks.
All right, so what brought you to the cabin? What made you kind of go, yep, I'm gonna come up and do it?
Do you want the long answer?
Yeah.
Well, I was already visiting. We've obviously known each other quite a long time.
Yep.
How long?
Just after Ben Sperms.
Yes.
Yeah,
you
year
were
7.
born, I would
Before,
imagine.
Yeah.
Before our little sand tech over here was born as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 years ago. 4.
So I was visiting from last year. So I'd been meaning to come up for a while, and I'd been visiting once a month or once every 2 months or so.
Yeah.
And I was working privately in Sydney. And then with all the COVID bullshit, I left Sydney and we were shut down for 3 months.
Yeah.
And then after that, I'd already moved north a bit and I was a bit closer. It wasn't 3 hours, it was 1 hour away. So,
Yeah.
Hence
why
I thought it was a good time at our age to hang out a bit.
Yeah.
Really,
Spend a bit of time in
yeah.
our old age.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. You don't
Go
get to do it as you get
golfing?
older, so
You guys go golfing on the weekend?
yeah, you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
hang out with
Yeah.
people when you're old. You
I
just
don't
do
hang
your
out with
work
anyone
and do your
now.
things, and
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah.
It's got to be proximity is everything.
Yeah.
Well, that leads us to another question. How does it feel working with Dave after you guys have known each other for so long? Is it
It's like,
easy
shit.
or
Pain in the ass.
Worst
self-inflicted?
boss
You
ever.
decided to come here.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's like I don't know. It's just like hanging out again, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We've known each other. We both know each other's families, and
And
known
we've
each
worked
other
together.
so long. We
We've
have worked
worked
together a
together
few times. Yeah.
A few times over the years in different
Yeah.
mediums. Have we worked? Oh, we've worked tattoos together, but we've worked
Oh,
at a
we-
plastic
We
factory.
worked in the bucket factory. Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
that's right.
Yeah.
That's so strange.
Yeah. I got
Yeah.
the sack from that factory.
Did you?
Yeah.
He remembers much more stuff than I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at him. He looks a lot younger as well, though.
I know. It's
We're
the
literally 6 months different.
6
Not
months
even.
age difference. Oh wow,
I just got the
Yeah.
Benjamin Button.
lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's awesome having you guys at work, and you can definitely tell that you've got a long-standing friendship because the vibe that you guys bring to the shop with all the banter and just how comfortable you guys are around each other is awesome as well. So I think that's cool.
Cool.
Yeah, lots of
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah,
Yeah. Sometimes I think I'm repeating myself, but yeah.
it's alright. I have a
You
terrible
probably
so it
are
doesn't
old, man.
matter.
Yeah, that's right. That's what happens.
Well, how would you describe your style?
I always find that a difficult question because we grew up around liking old school stuff. That was
Yep.
really the main
Main focus of
motivator,
our-
and that was
yeah.
all we were interested in when we were teenagers.
Yeah.
But I've drawn since I was a kid, and I grew up around artists and painters and things like this. So I've kind of got a
Mum and
fairly-
Dad were artists and painters. And
Yeah, my mum was an art
musicians
teacher, and my grandma was a painter and potters and musicians and things like this. So
Hmm.
I've always had a fairly wide view of art. So actually struggled for a lot of the time drawing old school and putting too much in because I, want to make the, like the person look real, or I want, you know what I mean? Like you want to add extra detail that actually takes away from the aesthetic.
Which for viewers as well, like
simplifying
that is a big thing as well. Like we're both more traditional artists, and we'll get to that in the podcast, but not overdrawing traditional is actually hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
That's a challenge. I wouldn't
that's a
have
challenge.
thought
Yeah,
would have been
that-
a challenge.
yep.
That's so strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I often, if I drawing a girl or something, I'll put in all the musculature and stuff like this. Like I know where all the things go. But see, if you start putting the lumps where the shoulders and the muscles and the bones and stuff are, it doesn't
Just
look
all-
like
Doesn't look right.
Doesn't look
Yeah.
right. You need smooth lines. So I guess in the answer, like I do more kind of a more illustrative old school. But having worked for a while now, there's a few styles that I like, and I like doing a lot of dark, more illustrative. Like I'm really enjoying a lot of dot work at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't tend to do too much realism. I'm not heaps interested in it. I feel like some people love that stuff, and that's cool for them. But that's I think a different kind of thought
Avenue.
process that goes into that. I like making shit up.
Yeah, fair.
If I get
Yeah.
to make
I
it
like
up, I'm
that.
generally pretty happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long
Yeah.
have you been tattooing for?
Well, I did my first tattoos when I was 20 through Shannon at STR.
He's 104 now.
I'm 104 now. But
So it was a
only
while
did
ago.
6 to 8 months or so of an apprenticeship, which I didn't even really know what I was doing. I was just an idiot and a kid. And
You're just there.
yeah, an opportunity came up to move to Newcastle and go to art school, and I was just like, okay, bye, and walked out of
Yeah.
it without even knowing what I was walking out of.
Wow.
And so it
all
took
just
another
kinda
10 years to
happened.
come back. So I came back and started tattooing at probably late, like 29, 30 years old, and then 40 now. So another 10 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
It's a process.
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
process.
It's a journey.
Yeah, I was a screen printer for 10 years, and I've done all sorts of shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. I learnt today that Ed Hardy was a screen printer
yeah.
before all of the stuff, which we'll get to in the meat and potatoes as well. I learned so much stuff today. It's awesome.
Doing some research.
Yeah, doing lots of research. It's actually fascinating. It's so cool, like learning about the history and I
It's
don't know.
a never-ending well of people.
Yeah, it's so many stories. Everyone's interlinked, which is like brings us back to like you guys being interlinked and like knowing all of
Yeah.
these,
Yeah,
all
that's
these
right.
It's
people. And
funny, I was
having
looking at a picture today
inspirations.
of a book by a guy, George Burchett, who I don't think you researched today, but I read this book by him that's quite hard to get. He tattooed from 1890 something
It's a while ago.
until about 1950 something. And he wrote a book with another guy at the end of that kind of career. But reading about him tattooing in the early 1900s as a street shop and the style, like the type of people that come in and the style of tattoos, like reading firsthand about it, is fucking really similar. It's ridiculously similar,
Wow.
which
Yeah.
you wouldn't think. You know what I
Nah,
mean? And,
but-
and when you
yeah.
actually start searching for old photos and looking at really like good old photos of tattoos, like, if they're stylistically, if you're looking at old school stuff, it's it's not like
The
you think old tattoos. People
foundations
think
are
old
similar.
tattoos are shit, but there's a lot of people doing really good work like 100 years ago,
Yeah, that's
like
right.
pretty
portraits
cool.
and stuff. You know what I mean? Stuff that you don't think they were doing. They were
And
doing
I
awesome
think
stuff.
Wow.
the further on in my career, I was trying to kind of get more Sailor Jerry, then a bit newer, a bit more new school. But now that the further on in my career, I'm going older and looking at older art and referencing more pre-50s, so that kind of
Wow.
era, and
Bringing it back.
yeah, and that's
Where
like
it
people
comes
like
from.
that were just so cool, just so innovative.
Very cool. Alright, so with the last question or a couple of questions, so I wanted to know what is the weirdest or wackiest piece that you've done, or like a couple of them.
Well, what did I do?
Can be
well,
crude.
today I did. Didn't
Yeah.
I did today. I did a fucking Harry Potter wand on that girl's finger. I'm a
Oh,
wizard,
that's right.
Harry.
I'm a what? I'm a what?
Fuck got it. Is this like an X-rated thing I can talk
Yeah,
about?
Well,
you can
is she going to
go.
put that in a wizard sleeve or what?
Oh god.
Well, it's yeah. We can, we're not putting it on kid-friendly places.
Yeah.
We try and keep the swearing down a bit, but it's also the world we work in. It's
Yeah.
not always rude, and it's different now to it was, 16 years ago when I started, and when we're in it, it's different. But we still get those kind of rude ones. So yeah, go ahead.
I still think it's probably too rude, actually. Maybe the weirdest one I'll talk about. I had a fairly... I talk sometimes about the sliding scale of morals in tattooing.
I'm curious.
So it depends how...
So was she.
You can be a very moral tattooist, but if you don't have any money, or like if you're very quiet, then your moral level drops a bit, and you'll do what you need to do to get your money.
Questionable things.
You might say your piece, but at the end of the
$20 is
day,
$20.
at the end of the day, you got to do your tattoo. So I had one only a few years ago of a guy he'd been to a bunch of shops around Sydney, and he came across pretty fucking fruity, and he wanted to get devil horns on the top of his head, like big devil horns. And he was trying to entice me, like, I've got cash now. And it's like, we're cash only, so I don't give a shit if you got cash. It's the same as anybody else.
Yeah.
He wasn't even really offering me as much cash as I would have asked for the job on a normal day.
Yeah.
And I said no a few times, but he was really agitated, and he left and came back. And I said, well, why do you want to get devil horns in your head? He's like, I don't want to go to fucking mosque anymore. So he's a Muslim guy, and he didn't want to have to go to mosque anymore. I still was like, man, he said, oh, fuck, I'm going to fucking lose it. He said, I've been to every shop and nobody will fucking tattoo me. I was like,
no.
and, I said, go for a walk and I'll have a think about it. So we went for a walk and asked the other people in the studio, and they were like, just fucking do it. Take the money. So I was like, okay. So I came back and I tattooed some great big devil horns right on the top of his head.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Wow.
And his mood, like he was quite agitated, but he calmed down significantly. After I did it, he was just like, he was happy that he got it done.
Yeah, you just saved him.
Yeah, it was
From
pretty
what he did
odd.
was
Saved him a load of musk hours.
It's pretty odd.
Yeah.
What else? I've strengthened an Egyptian ankh on an exorcist. Once he claimed to be an exorcist,
Yeah.
and he
That's
already
interesting.
had the tattoo, and I
Oh
just
my
had to put
God.
an extra line through it to make it stronger for the demon protection
Oh,
qualities.
okay.
That's kind of cute in a weird
Yeah.
way. That's a bit cute.
What else? Heaps of shit.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, well, I guess...
I may have done the world's biggest Southern Cross tattoo.
Oh god.
I might have. I don't know.
Ooh, how big was it?
So for
Top of
people-
his neck to above, his tailbone. Pretty much. If it had been any bigger, it would have been in his crack.
So for people living overseas, because I've been looking at our stats, and we've got a fair bit in America watching us. So over here, Southern Hemisphere, there's the Southern Cross looking up at our stars, but it just became through the 2000s.
It's always been an Australian icon, but we had some kind of racial tension and race riots,
yeah, through
and it
the early
became a little bit of an
2000s.
icon for people
bit-
who were into that
Yeah,
at
it's
the
a
Yeah,
time.
but then it
Bogan.
moved.
and picked up a few nicknames along the way. It
Yeah.
moved. Lots of people had it.
Yep, it moved
And
away
then
from the racial stuff.
Quite a few people came and kind of got them covered because they were proud to be Australian, and then it took on another meaning after, like the
That's
OK
right.
symbol at the moment.
Yeah.
Similar situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got the nickname Aussie Swazzy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Never heard that. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, that's what we used to call it
That's what
in-
we used to get
Holy
called.
By
yeah.
the end of it, that's what we called it.
That was
in-
after Cronulla, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway,
We used to have a metal rack at one of the studios I worked at that had stencils made. So we got one of the apprentices before stencil machines to hand stencil every size.
yeah,
and there was a
yes, we had
pile of
photocopied
them.
books of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Different styles.
So they
and
were
stuff,
all
'cause
hand
it was a
stenciled.
popular, very popular tattoo.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. This guy though, he was a bit older, and I thought he might, you'd look at older people. Sometimes you think they might know more than you, like because they've had more experience in life. So he's this quiet older guy. He's like, yeah, I want the Southern Cross up his back, and the guy at the counter had been, the piercer, of course, had talked him into, that looks sick with chrome. So it would end up being a chrome Southern Cross, which I was just like, fuck off, man. I just want to get the thing done and be done with my day. So we did a gigantic chrome Southern Cross. But he was saying, where am I, I don't know, maybe the sixth star is going to have to go like on my stomach or on my ribs or something like that. And I was like, I don't know about the sixth star, but I was like, I didn't want to appear like a dickhead. So I was like, maybe it's part of the constellation it's like they just don't show it on the flag or something, He's about 60 or something. So I thought, surely he knows if he's going to get his whole back tattooed. So I kind of was like, I'll go, sort that out. And I kind of did a little bit of a goggle about it. And I was just like, no, he's definitely talking, because on our flag we have another star that is for the states. It's not part of the constellation.
Yep.
But obviously this dude getting his whole back tattooed with the Southern Cross didn't understand that. So he was thinking the sixth star that's way over here on the flag was going to wrap all the way around onto his stomach. So I had to go and break the news to him.
Then he would have got the Union Jack here.
Yeah, it was weird. But I ended up doing a gigantic boxing kangaroo in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was
That would have made it heaps better.
Yeah, and he had a Manly Seagulls on the other shoulder. And then he wanted to come back for a redback on the dunny seat on the other shoulder, but he never turned up for that. And it's the only one I really wanted to do.
Yeah, that always happens.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Ew.
All right, so for the little kind of interview section, this will be the last question, but we'll Joe's going to stay on for the next section. But last question. So, your biggest challenge so far in the industry? What are you? It's a hard one to answer because there
Very
is so many.
generalised.
There is
Yeah.
so many.
There's a lot of things, but I think the hardest thing is getting the customer base that you need, like getting, like you did, like being a tattooist, you do tattoos, you do whatever comes, if you're capable of it, you fucking do it. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. Like it's, that's just the job. But you want to encourage more of the things that you want to do.
Like a target
that you're
audience.
passionate about.
Yeah, that you're passionate about, things that'll kind of make your day not feel like work.
Yeah.
So I think like finding that base it's always good. Like you get customers that become, like they're your customers and they'll follow you around and
Everywhere,
they're fantastic.
Yeah.
And
kind
they're
of
there
people.
for you.
Yeah, well, I had one back today from maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's right. People, they might get a sleeve or half a sleeve, disappear for 2 or 3 years, and then come back and get a bit more, and then I've got customers that have been tattooing for almost the whole time I've been working now.
Yeah.
They might disappear for a while, and you think, I wonder what happened to them, and then they'll just contact you again and be like, ready to go again. But yeah, it's I think finding the right customer base and the right ratios of kind of doing fun stuff as to just doing jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
And then you enjoy your fun stuff. You do enjoy the other stuff as well.
Yeah.
I've always put
a lot of stuff is fine. Like
that's right.
you enjoy it and you always try and do a good job. But it's like it's like a balancing act type of thing. It's like
I've always used the other stuff as a challenge to make my stuff better anyway. So
That's a good
all
one.
right,
that's
we've got
right. You always pick up techniques
Celtic
and
stuff,
things
or and
and it's like if you hate doing it, there's probably something you need to learn about doing it.
that's right. Yeah.
You probably hate it because you're finding it difficult, and then you should get better at it. So
Yeah.
and you never know, you might learn something that'll feed back into your own kind of imagery.
That's fair.
All right, so we're going to we'll finish that segment up, but as I say, Joe's going to stay for the next segment. We're going to fuck off. I'm going with me beer. All right, so hang around for the next segment. All right, guys, we're into the next segment. This is called Meat and Potatoes. So this part's more... We'll change every week, as I've said for the last couple of podcasts, but people that have just stumbled onto this one, we'll just try and delve a little bit into what the cabin is about, but more in the form of some history of... So we're a tattoo shop, we're also a coffee shop, a music venue and a recording studio. So all of it is based around that, but we try and remove it from the shop a little bit, go into a bit of history or wherever it takes us, basically.
Yeah.
So
It's something educational and interesting.
yep. So we're me and Joe both being more traditional style artists, we both differ in the way we do traditional, but we thought we'd go into more traditional history, I guess.
Yeah.
We're not going right back to dates and this person started this and that person took it on, but we're just picking a few artists that we know a little bit about and we've done a bit of research on, and we're gonna kick off with that and
Chat about that. Yeah. So I thought I'd start off with a little fact. So the oldest known tattoo is on a 5,000-year-old mummy, and they were found with 57 tattoos. Like,
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
It's like,
was any
Yeah, I
of
think
them a
there's
Southern Cross?
No, they were not the Southern
Probably
Cross.
not being from Egypt.
I think there's a horse on one of them,
A horse?
or something like
yeah.
a horse and
On
a
the,
little.
was it a...
yeah.
I can't remember if
Yep.
it was a female, but there was
Yeah,
a
it was.
lady who had a really cool...
I thought you were
Horse.
saying she was a whore.
a horse.
Yeah.
Or 57 tattoos, one for
Just
Yeah.
7,000
each
year
of her
old.
men's. Yeah, so
That's
back
a
in the
niche
day...
market.
Yeah, so back in the day, respectable people didn't really get tattoos, but by the 1700s that started to change when the sailors started documenting their travels, like over the sea and all their journeys and stuff. So tattoos were mostly for people living outside the constraints of mainstream society, such as sailors and circus freaks, and it stayed that way for approximately 200 years, or so I read.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your opinion?
From what I understand, it was quite popular. It went through periods of popularity, like even early 1900s, late 1800s. It was quite popular, like for, like
In the when? The early what?
1900s and 1800s.
Yeah, but before, like,
So you're talking pre that?
yeah. Oh, I guess, so 1700, so 200 years
to
after
about-
that,
yeah.
yeah. So early, okay, yeah.
And I think
It was
that set the
popular in
standard
what?
still to today. So you're talking the popularity early 1900s.
In what kind
and
of
then it
crowd,
kind
though?
of going and
All sorts. There used to be like, since like I was talking about George Burchett before.
So this is before World War II.
This is before World War One.
Okay.
So it was like I think it was Prince Frederick or King Frederick or something like this was fucking out a bodysuit.
Yeah.
But a lot of the aristocracy had tattoos, and it was like that traveling in like the English were expanding around the world, and one of their kind of parlor things was like, got this tattoo here. A lot of them got them in England from people like George Burchett, and they would lie about where they got them on their travels. But there was
like an original passport stamp.
yeah, like they
Basically.
would show off. It was like a parlor, like I've been into fucking Africa, and I've got these tattoos. You know what I mean? That was all what you're a man. You've travelled the fucking world. And
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
done your thing, and so that was like commoners used to get them, and the same stuff that people get now, like roses and love hearts and things were popular. At times pictures of the king or things like this, but yeah, also aristocracy kind of got them, and even cosmetic tattooing. I think George Burchett started that in the early 1900s as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
He had a
pretty cool.
separate name. He had a French guy at a different parlour, a French guy, and he was called Dr. Burchett. And this French guy would kind of court the high class ladies. He could fix up beauty spots and even out skin tones, and
Oh, wow.
and they would sell him at a much higher rate, and you'd have a very fancy French kind of guy, taking the bookings and
To escort them in.
yeah.
That's pretty cool. I did
Anyway,
not
yeah,
find that.
it's funny. Like when I grew up, it was like it's like a bikers, criminals thing is what we kind of thought about.
What we knew it as.
But that was really something I think that took hold in the mid 1900s, like in 50s, 40s, 60s. I don't really know when that kind of took hold, but that was
Yeah.
kind of what we were coming out of, I guess, when we started learning.
Yeah, that's
finding
right.
out about tattoos. It was a bit taboo, but previously to that, it had been less so.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that's what I reckon's happened over the years. So, talking that getting popular in the early 1900s. and I think it still does it. It gets really popular, and then it kind of turns into something else, and then it's back up popular. And
Yeah.
just in my 16-year career, and I'd like to say maybe our 20-year career in over 20, I guess.
Yeah.
23 or 4 in getting tattoos and aspiring and hanging around shops and that kind of stuff. We've seen so much of that. You know, when we first were getting tattooed, it kind of hit a bit of a boom. But then it kind of dropped again, and we've seen a lot of that happen. I think that will always happen.
Yeah. So maybe this is relevant to like that wave of popularity. So I've got like information about like when World War II came along. So when World War II happened, so there was millions of young American men were faced with the reality of war, and majority of these young men were stopping on the shores of Honolulu in Hawaii. So I've got this area was the ultimate shore leave destination for millions of servicemen. It was also home to the tattoo shop of the heavily inked former Navy man named Norman Collins, so aka Sailor Jerry. So Sailor Jerry made significant contributions to the art of tattooing and basically revolutionized the industry. So he invented needle formations that embedded pigment and with much less trauma to the skin, and became one of the first artists to utilize single-use needles. His studio was also the first to use an autoclave to sterilize equipment, and he invented the purple pigment used for tattoos.
He still
from
smoked while he tattooed all the time.
Australian
Right?
rocks.
Yeah,
Really?
that's right.
Didn't use,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
But
renowned for his
You
pipe.
gotta
They did
have
that
some
up
balance,
to the. They did
though.
that up to the 90s.
But
and
he was
2000s really.
the reason he revolutionised a lot of it, even design-wise, his designs were slightly different than the American traditional that came before, because he was one of the first guys to be he was a letter writer, and he had friends with Japanese kind of masters at the time, and they would exchange letters, and he was a sailor. Like, one of the things about him was he could do, like, when he did ships, like a sailing ship, he could do the rigging and stuff. He just knew how it was supposed to work.
because he'd worked.
He
that
worked on the
industry.
ships. He knew what all the fucking ropes did. He wasn't just putting weird, wacky lines in there, or
Yeah, just
I mean, he
Wasn't
just
making stuff up.
he just knew what it was meant to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he was writing letters back and forth. So he was kind of introducing things like washers was one of the things that he really started using that people weren't really using at the time, and also just a sleek kind of the designs. The Japanese spent a
shading.
lot of time refining kind of what am I trying to say? Help me out here.
like line work. Or
No, just the way the picture sits together. You know, what I
Okay,
mean? Like
composition.
and stuff like
Yeah.
this, and just the neat line work and neat planes of things. So he took a lot of that stuff and applied it to American traditional, and that's probably why it looks so good.
I
Still,
still think they're the masters of composition,
yeah.
and that's how.
Well, they got a lot
The
of
Western
lot more
world-
practice than the Western world at it.
Yeah, that's right. And that's how the Western world has obviously taken tattooing to another level, but I always think it was from that. And he's so well known for going over to Japan and learning. I'm not sure the guy he learned under. Do you know who he learned under? No, it was something we maybe put on the video or whatever in the show notes. But so he went and learned under a Japanese artist, and like really early in his career, and that changed the way he did things, which then changed the way a lot of artists did, especially through America.
Interesting. So a little bit on the end of Sailor Jerry. So I've got here that Sailor Jerry wanted one of at least 3 of his proteges or friends. So one of like either Ed Hardy, Mike Malone, or Zeke Owen to take over his shop. And he was like, or else burn it when I die. So that was like very dramatic. But
Yeah. Do you know the purple story?
Oh, Dave was telling me earlier the pigment comes from Australian rocks. Is it?
I don't know where the pigment
Yeah,
comes from.
so
What's
so
the
he
purple story?
did he
Yeah.
travelled to Australia. There's a massive story to this that which people can kind of go and read. We can only get into it a little bit, but there's someone that suggested to him there is purple pigment in Australia, so pigment taken from crushed down rocks, but you've got to go to Australia to get it. So he did,
Really?
And he-
Couldn't
yeah,
get
and
the
he
rock
come here.
delivered or anything?
Well,
It was like,
the,
"No, you gotta go
he
yourself."
couldn't-
Because the story I know, I think it's in that Hori Smoku
yeah.
documentary, whereas because he wasn't the only tattooer in the area. There was quite a lot. I can't remember the other guy's name. He was also a
Was it
fairly
a-
renowned tattooer.
Yeah, that's
think-
But basically, the other tattooers was in the newspaper saying, "Oh, you know, we have 5 colors. You know, like for instance, you'll never see someone do a purple dragon." And
he
so
was
Sailor
like,
Jerry
"Hold
was
my
just like,
beer."
"Yeah, fuck you. I bet you I can." So he
Yeah.
worked it out,
Yeah.
and then he tattooed a purple dragon on a sailor and sent him down to the other shop. And
Oh
it's
my gosh.
like, go in there and ask for a purple dragon. He said, "Can I have a purple dragon?" He's like, "No, you'll never get a purple dragon." He said, "Well, I got this one down the street. You know what I mean?
Oh
Fuck
my
you."
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's sassy as
So
fuck.
yeah, it was pretty sassy. It was just kind of to piss the other guy off,
And that's what he was like as
and
a
to
person.
cut his cutting the competition a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what he was like as a person. I've got his I've got a book that it's around here somewhere in our studio, but it's there was only 50 ever made, and I got it personally from Shanghai Kate, so his apprentice. 50 ever made. There'll be no more made after that. Blah blah blah. But yeah, he just the trouble he caused around the industry and like things like that. He would go to extents to
Yeah.
you can't do purple. Well, I'll make that happen, just to
Wow.
annoy that person, and So, which is, it's such a cool part of our industry.
Yeah.
We still get it now, and it pisses us off, obviously. But
Competitive shithead.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. He sounds great. Yeah, so Sailor Jerry, I've got here, has had many friends and admirers, and we'll chat more about Ed Hardy, who I mentioned before. So we'll chat about him soon, but I wanted to talk about his competition, Lyle Tuttle, who also sounded like he was very opinionated and a bit of a
Bit of a
troublemaker.
larrikin.
Bit of a ladies' man.
He
Yeah.
was definitely a ladies' man. I
Yeah.
can attest to this. With
Oh god.
I'm not going to get into the story, but I spent a week with Lyle Tuttle in the Philippines, and yeah, just some of the personal pictures he showed me were
Some of his comments.
they were great.
Yeah.
But awesome guy, such an awesome guy. Like maybe meeting him in the 50s, 60s would have been a different kettle of fish.
story.
But I met him in his 60s, late
Yeah.
60s. So just a wealth of knowledge. I was, going back to the Sailor Jerry. So I spent about 3 days with him, and we just got on really well. So we spent most of the time together. We ended up judging. So we did a tattoo convention over there, and we judged it together. So, I got to judge a.
That'd be a really cool
Yeah,
experience.
that was awesome. Fuck, I just lost me train of thought.
You were judging, spent time with him.
Oh, the chef,
Sailor
yep.
Jerry's. Yeah.
I'll just clap again. So,
Oh.
So yeah, we were judging this competition, and I walked out. I kind of knew about the whole him and Sailor Jerry, but I had kind of forgotten about it, but wore a big Sailor Jerry shirt, and he basically said, "You cunt."
Traitor.
Yeah. And I'm like, what? The shirt,
Oh,
But then he, it was all tongue in cheek, and he was like, he actually got onto the story of them ripping off his wife
Right.
for the RAM and all that. And
Yeah.
So he was, although they'd hated each other forever, I think later on they didn't hate each other as much,
So
and
much,
then him knowing that he'd been ripped off hurt his feelings because he knew the legacy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so Sailor Jerry, if you're listening, maybe chuck his wife a few dollars.
yeah, that would be nice.
In her old age.
But yeah. So it was good actually. It sparked a massive conversation, and
Yeah.
you probably got a bit more on the history of him.
Yeah.
He added to the industry
Also,
massively.
yeah. Yeah, so I've got so Lyle Tuttle bought his first tattoo, which was a heart with mum in the banner for just $3.50 from a circus when he was 14. I thought that was pretty cool. So he started off his career when he was just 18 and opened up his own studio in 1954 at the age of 23, and he ran that shop for nearly 30 years. So he is quoted to say that he opened up the shop to get tattooing out of the back alley. So Lyle stated that his popularity grew with the women's liberation movement of the 1960s, where women began expressing themselves some more. He once told a reporter, "With more freedom, more women got tattooed. Back in the day, I was in more panties than a gynecologist because women were getting their tattoos inside the bikini line, so little rosebuds and butterflies." I thought that was brilliant.
And he was in more later in life too.
Doesn't
Not
stop.
involving tattooing.
He was known as the first tattoo artist of the 20th century to go mainstream, and even appeared on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine in October of 1970 for tattooing famous musicians and actors such as Janis Joplin, Joan Baez. I said that wrong again.
Bayers, yeah.
Baez?
Bayers.
Baez. The Allman Brothers, Cher, and Henry Fonda. So Lyle was very vocal about his opinions on the art of tattooing, so he'd appear in magazines, newspaper articles, and even as a guest on The Tonight Show. He would talk to anyone that would listen, and Sailor Jerry wasn't too shy to comment on Lyle's shameless self-promotion. He would tell artists and customers that came into his shop that Lyle was a sellout. Sailor Jerry felt so strongly about the topic that he cut out Lyle's photo from his Rolling Stone article and pasted it onto his toilet and told his friends and colleagues that he was going to use it as target practice. So sassy. Yeah, that's the information I have on him. It was pretty. There was a lot of stuff that I could have
There's
said,
a lot
like,
of stuff on what he's
yeah.
done, but he really is known for his kind of showmanship as well as, tattooing famous people, and Sailor Jerry would have tattooed famous people.
He was
as
kind of
well.
an ambassador for tattooing for a long time, wasn't he?
Sailor
That's
Jerry?
Tuttle.
He was.
That's
yeah.
how he kind of set himself up.
Yeah, that's right. Even to this day, you search like full body tattoos, and you'll get kind of Japanese, traditional Japanese guys, and with their full body suits. But
You get a picture of Lyle Tuttle with his shirt
Lyle
off.
Tuttle will always come up with his shirt off, and that's
He seemed to spend a lot of time with his shirt off. There's so many photos.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's right.
He was a good-looking man in
He was,
his
that's
prime.
right. It was a famous sex icon as well.
Oh my lord.
So.
That's fair.
But yeah, I think his career was massive because of him being able to sell himself, and and artists still
Very
don't like that
characteristic.
now. Like
Charisma.
I did so many years in the music industry, I had to learn how to sell myself and market, and
Advertising,
we've
yeah.
done that here, and we've got issues with other people that don't like that. We sell out because we do that, and I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So same as him back then. He'd just learn another way to
Yeah.
get above.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And he marketed himself as a tattoo artist for the celebs.
Yeah.
He did that, and he did a great job of it.
Yeah, that's
obviously.
right.
Like,
And
he
Yeah, I
he
mean,
achieved what he set out to achieve.
At the time, bullshitting to get your jobs was painless tattooing and fucking all sorts of
that's
stuff. Like
right.
it was just common to bullshit your way into as much work as you can.
Yep. Yeah, well, that was a big thing through the 50s as well, was painless tattooing. So
Really?
you'd see these
Yeah.
cool old posters that were
Oh my God.
I can't imagine anything would have been painless, but
no,
Yeah.
back then as well. Like even when
that
we
just
started,
throws back to do tattoos hurt.
yeah, that's right. But like a lot of the shops would have painless tattooing down the pillars and stuff like that. So let's go there.
Wow.
I wonder that would.
I wanna go to
difference
that
be
shop.
Fresh needles and tuned machines. That might be as close as you get to painless,
Yeah,
as opposed to the guy down the street. You know?
yeah, that it chews in.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so going on to Ed Hardy, I have some information. So Ed Hardy might be well known as a creator of colourful apparel adorned in rhinestones, but he's also known as having a strong influence in the development of modern tattoo styles. So he's described as a pioneer in the field for pushing the art form to new heights and for publishing books that told the history of the craft. He was a student of Sailor Jerry, and through his association he was able to study tattooing in Japan in 1973 with a classical Japanese tattoo master. He became recognized for incorporating Japanese tattoo aesthetics and technique into his American style work. He was known to create custom tattoos tailored to the specific wishes of the customers, which was a total game changer for the time. In 1974, he opened up his own shop called the Realistic Tattoo Studio, and it said that it was the first in the US to operate as an appointment-only shop. In 1977, he met Charlie Cartwright and Jack Rudy, the tattoo artist from Los Angeles, and they were offering the first professional prison-style black and grey tattoos. Hardy recognized how special this new style was to the art of tattooing and got involved with these guys.
Which they call Chicano.
Chicano.
Yep, and that's a byproduct of Freddie Negrete.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's just like a little bit more information about when Charlie Cartwright left the business. Hardy established Tattoo Land with Rudy to preserve the black and grey shop. And then Ed Hardy also opened up his famous studio, Tattoo City, which was the first... sugar. The first was at Mission Street in San Francisco. So that's a little bit of Ed Hardy.
Yeah, and I think he cops...
Ed Hardy was a real artist.
He was.
He was an amazing artist. And
artist first, tattooer later.
Yeah, he was just a real powerhouse. And all the stuff with the clothing and the rhinestones, that was some silly fuckwit Christian Audeguer.
Yeah, that was sold.
That was sold out from under him. And
no, he sold it on, but he sold it for bugger all as well. Or maybe I'm wrong, but basically it was still kind of cool looking stuff at the stage he sold it on. It was... And
then it just got like bastardized.
It just got bastardized.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm pretty sure he hates it, but...
Fair.
You know, it's sold on now, and it's now been and gone. I don't think anyone wears that kind of stuff anymore. Maybe in Rutherford down the road. But that's still been in their closet since the 90s anyway. So.
Yeah.
Or whenever it happened. But I think he did a lot for the industry. A lot for bringing it into the modern world. You kind of think what he would bring to the world now.
Well, I think
in tattooing.
I wonder if he's the first to really kind of exhibit in galleries with tattoo. Yeah. Like a high profile artist to exhibit tattoo style artwork in galleries, because I was talking before about the 1,000 Dragons or 2,000 Dragons, his exhibition he had, which was quite amazing. I remember reading about it in some of the early tattoo magazines that I ever got my hands on, and early Juxtapose it was in. I don't know. He's a bit of a legend, I reckon. Like his artwork is actually amazing. It's annoying that people laugh
at his name.
Laugh at the name after all the shit clothing, because he's a fucking phenomenal powerhouse of an artist.
Kind of like Von Dutch in the
way
world.
Yeah, the way he got kind of exploited as well.
He was an arsehole too, and wife beater and stuff like that. But
that aside,
he his art was amazing, and so it's similar kind of.
It's been overshadowed.
Fields,
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about Hardy. He's just awesome. Like one of the shops I worked in had a lot of original prints and artworks that were just fucking amazing, hanging on the wall all the time. Like I don't know. He's really like, I think the basis of what I like in old school. That he's probably the kind of most modern kind of
version of it.
Yeah, he's the guy that you kind of would like to be able to just knock him out of your head like that. It would be great.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, and he made a lot of it. Like, he was prolific as well.
Yeah. So I think that's probably, I think the three artists is great for this. And obviously you guys watching, listening, whether you're on the podcast form or the YouTube form, will be saying, oh, there's much more bones to that kind of
this is
thing.
like
We do know that.
This is like the froth on the top of the coffee. you
That's
know?
right. You know, so we are
So
kind
many
of
names.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
as
right.
I was
And
reading
there's
the articles, there's just a bunch of people that obviously have impacted the industry. Like,
it's similar to the music industry as well, whereas you kind of get these bands like, you know, say Led Zeppelin or whatever, and you can pick their influences, and that's what made that sound happen. But they're
comes
more
from
famous,
roots
you know.
and
So
roots
same
and
same
roots.
as this.
Yeah.
There's so much backstory to these guys, which over the time we will get into. We will delve a little bit further. Maybe next time Joe's on, we'll kind of
Yeah, okay.
we'll do the more traditional
Might
thing.
prepare
again.
next time.
Might prepare. He didn't know what he was walking into.
No.
And as I say, look, we're pretty new to this podcast thing, so every week we're trying to get them better, less awkward, more organisation, that kind of thing. So bear with us, and they are going to get better. But I think that'll finish off this segment, and next segment will just be a quick one called "What the is that sound?"
I think that we've upped it every week.
time,
It's
yeah.
like, what the fuck?
All right, so hang around for that section.
You're that. This fuck is that sound.
All right, welcome back to this segment called
What the fuck is this sound?
It's the sound of Jackson not being behind the camera.
Yeah, it's
It is.
weird, isn't it? It's not. The
Well,
goblins are not supposed to be let in front of cameras.
It's like Elf on the Shelf.
Yeah,
Elf under the shelf.
broken the rules. We've put the water on the gremlin. We're out.
All right, so basically what this segment is as seasoned musos, we bring down some gear to test out that we have in our studio. Our studio's pretty
Extensive.
stocked with gear, isn't it, Joe?
It's full.
It's full.
It's not full. I bet you can buy heaps more.
Like it's
I
full
bet-
as a fat woman's sock.
But it's quite full, yeah.
Yeah, I've spent a long time finding places for the fill stuff.
You have,
Which is
you
good.
have. All right, so this week we've got. So what are we up to snare wise? I think we're about 15, no more,
Yeah.
closer to 20. So
Such a good name. Snare.
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 So we've got about 20 snares up there, and each one of them sound different.
Yeah.
So part of this segment is we're going to explain why we've got different snares, show the difference, and
we
then
get to hit snares.
and we get to hit
Yeah,
snares,
it's fun.
and it's loud.
Yeah.
And Ira's going to explain what she hears,
And Joe.
and Joe.
Yeah.
All right.
He's a bit more versed than Ori is in the snare world, because he owns his own snares.
Snare. I don't know why it's affecting me.
It's pretty funny.
So fucking look at his
You
snare.
Trap rabbits and you trap toads.
What's
Yeah,
over
that's right.
snare? There's a few snares.
All right, so we've got a Mapex sledgehammer here.
Stop doing endome.
No.
Broken leg, full of endo.
Get that.
Do you just keep the endone in there so you can just say it?
Yeah.
All right, so Mapex sledgehammer. So this is a custom, well, it's
Black Panther.
Black Panther, yeah.
This is Sonic Saber here. I think you got it wrong.
Saves your Sonics.
Is this a panther?
That's a
What's
Sonic
the colour-
Saber.
What's the color of that panther, Joe?
That's a fucking
What's
cat.
that say?
That's
What's
a
that say,
Sonic
Joe?
Saber
I mean,
just there.
technically.
Black.
So what does this mean? They wrote that there for
No,
nothing.
it's just a fucking it's a rim, bro.
You mean
That's
they
the
just
rim.
bothered printing that on there for no reason?
All right, you own one snare, Joe.
I don't know any snares.
Sorry, Tira owns one snare, Joe.
I'm just saying you're just mislabeling this product. These people.
False
Why are you such a
They put a lot of time and effort into this, and you're out here promoting the wrong thing.
Okay.
So
Right.
what is it? It's a Black Panther Mapex Sonic Saber
It's a snare.
It's
with Black Panther Remo skins.
Yes.
I don't know anything about snares. I can see that from here.
I want to put Evans on it.
yeah, it's
I like Evans.
Well, then you wouldn't get the Panther logo on the top.
That's true. That's
Well,
true.
I mean,
You got the
It
Panther on
did
the
come
side,
out with
though.
Remo. We are Evans fans here at the cabin, but It still does sound good with the Remo on it. All right, so the Black Panther is hand hammered, so every one of them is different, and it's made out of brass. So, what this gives you is actually I'll hit it first, and we'll get Ori to explain what it gives you, and then I'll explain properly.
All right.
This room's gonna hurt, by the way.
Oh.
Yep.
Fuck.
Yep.
Sounds angry. Sounds hand hammered.
Sounds hand hammered.
Yep.
Hand hammered.
Like young Jackson over here.
Hand hammered.
He's single, ladies,
Yeah.
and hand hammered.
Yeah. I've been doing my own hammering for too long.
All right, so what did it sound like?
Oh, it sounds aggressive. It sounds
Right.
angry. Yeah.
That's right.
That's what this brass for you.
Yep.
There's a reason they make trumpets out of this shit.
Yep. So it is.
Damn.
This is our most aggressive snare in our whole arsenal of snares. Snare arsenal. But it actually, you can play some real, you can play some real jazzy low stuff as well.
Just cuts
But
through. Yeah. Yep. It'll
I
cut.
imagine that could sound like a machine gun if you wanted it to.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
This is the MG42 right there.
All right, so yes, this is our loudest. So if we need something to cut through a mix, really loud band, this is the one we'll
It'll
pick
do
to
it.
do that.
It's the
Alright.
Bleeding Eardrums 3000.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a great stage snare, but also if we do have, because we record in a dead room upstairs at the studio, so if we do have a really, really loud drummer, this will cut through the mix.
And cymbal bashes as well.
Yes.
This is good for that.
All right.
And it just sounds good.
And it's freaking heavy.
Oh, yep. Hand hammered. Alright, let's go. This has an Evans on it.
So we're sticking to Mapex, aren't we?
Yeah, this is all Mapex. This is
All
all Black
Mapex.
Panther. I just realised.
Yep.
This is the Black Panther episode.
What's that sound it's making when you're moving it? Is it like tingly sound?
That's the
That's the snare.
the
The what?
Flip it over and show the bottom.
Yeah, what's the
yeah.
bottom?
Check this out. It's got a little wire on the
So
Oh. Oh.
turn the snare
That's
off.
pretty cool. It's like what the girls wear is like the chokers. You can take that off.
Yeah,
and
that's
wear
exactly
it as a
what it
choker.
is. It came from Hot Topic.
Yeah. now give it a.
So
now
basically
it sounds
it's a
like
tom.
it sounds like Saint Anger now.
Look at me learning things.
Yeah.
That's for you,
Wow.
Scott.
Yes,
Who's
Scott.
watching.
Scott likes Saint Anger.
He loves Metallica, so I'm sure
Ah.
he'd
No,
accept that album.
Metallica's weird because some people like Saint Anger and some don't because it has cursing in it. And Metallica never
Oh.
cursed in their albums before
Oh wow.
Saint Anger.
Fuck it. All right, moving on.
That's an incredibly boring line of questioning
Yeah.
and inquiry going on
What
there.
is that sticky
All right,
thing?
so this is a very cheap version from
of the hand
Kmart
sticky things that you
of
throw
the
at
hand
the wall.
sticky things.
Just so your grandma doesn't run into your glass window in Christmas time when she's had one too many brandies.
Yeah. And how many times did that happen before you got one of those?
4.
Four.
So what that gives you is a slight bit of deadening. So it's, what's it called, Jacqueline?
You should put that on the
Moon
loud
gel?
one.
It's called a
It's
moon
called
gel.
Moon Gel. Well, Moon Gel's the brand, isn't
About
it?
3 of them.
Yeah.
on the loud.
So this is like like the Band-Aid.
This is the Kmart version.
yeah, this is the plaster version of a Band-Aid for tone.
All right, so same thing. I'm going to hit this. So what we have different though is this is maple. We have a maple wooden snare
Yeah,
over
wood.
It's
a
not
metal
hand
snare.
hammered.
And it's
No.
not hand.
It's hand maple cut down or something.
So much more sedate. This is a 13-inch snare. That was a 14. So it's going to give you a much more controlled sound.
This one's pretty dark as well, which I really
Yes.
like.
Yeah, I like that. It's better
Yeah.
Yeah.
for me.
It's less
So what does it sound
earball
like to you,
attacking.
Ori?
I like it. It sounds like a deeper sound, like
Yep.
a nicer.
So deeper
Really
is
say?
along the lines of what we'd say of darker.
Yeah, more or less. Less
Sounds more dunky.
less,
More dunky,
Yeah,
yeah,
more
just the-
dunky.
less of that high end attack that
Yep.
smacks you right in the head.
So you've got when we get drummers that are quite, they've come from a school of jazz kind of thing, and they might be playing rockabilly or blues kind of stuff, we'll often give them this. This snare's just got just enough attack to get through the mix
Yeah, it's
without completely taking over the mix.
It's got less ring as well, which is sort of... Well, I mean, ring depends on what you like. Some people really love ring, some people don't.
Yeah.
But this doesn't have a lot of ring.
You
Back
love
on
ring,
the
though, don't you?
San Anger.
I love ring.
Yeah.
I thought you
Yeah.
said rim.
That's rim. You can... Can
Yeah.
you do
Some
a,
people
can you
like
do
a
a
lot
rim
of
shot,
rim.
Ferrari?
Hold on.
That was
I
bad.
can't get the stick up.
That's called a rim shot.
A rim shot.
Yep.
It is.
That's not a joke. That is
That's
called
the
a rim
OG
shot.
rim shot. That's before porn.
Before porn.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, so we're at same size snare.
This one looks pretty.
It's
This
pretty good.
I like it.
one is very pretty.
I tried to
very
make my
pretty.
drummer use this one, but he wanted to use the second less good one than the Ludwig Black Beauty.
Yeah. So this is slightly shallower than the other snare, but same circumference.
It's made of cherry.
Cherry.
It's made of cherry wood.
Delicious.
So this will be a bit brighter than the maple. We'll hit it first, and we'll ask your expertise on this one.
This is my favorite
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I like it's a the sound is wider. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But like it's dunk dunk
A
but
fuller sound?
Dwonk.
Yep,
Yeah, it goes out like that.
Dwonk.
It's
Yeah.
not a dunk dunk, but
pretty
it's a
spot on.
dwonk.
So
Yeah.
we'll pick this on a lot of mixes actually.
Yep.
14 snares, so this is a 13-inch snare. 14 snares are more what people use. 13s, a lot of people do use them, but they're less widely used.
Yep.
But this will really cut through a mix in the right way.
Yeah, I fucking love this now.
Yep. So we'll often start of our kind of sessions upstairs. We'll pull out a load of snares and get the drums to hit them, and they pick what they want. We'll then go on and kind of say, look, for your mix, I think this one might be better, and it might not be this one. It might be this one, but
Yeah, it'd
A
be,
lot of
it'd
time
be
it's this
pointless
one.
listening to them if you always said that one.
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I do say that one a lot though because I like it.
yeah.
No one
it-
ever listens to me.
No.
But yeah, it's just so we'd call this a well-rounded snare. Is red? No.
It's got a nice rim.
Nice full sounding snare. What wires we got on this? Oh, we just got 24s.
I didn't realise there's a different wires you could get.
There's different wires.
You only just
The
learned there was
chokers.
wires.
Yeah.
on
different
this
chokers.
They're
we've got a-
different chokers. So that one's from
42?
David Jones and this one's from Hot Topic
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the cheaper one.
or Dangerfield.
So that's a 42.
Dangerfield.
That's a
Dangerfield's
24.
expensive.
La Vista.
I just learned yesterday Dangerfield's expensive. I didn't know that.
No,
Dangerfield's alright.
no, it's cheaper.
Oh, okay.
Is it cheaper?
It's cheaper compared to like
Like
authentic
Gucci
stuff.
and I don't. Well, this is a tangent we don't need to go on.
That's right. All right, so we're just doing the 3 snares for today, but basically
It's good.
it's just
That
such
sounds
a,
good.
Good.
a nice cutting snare.
I'm
for
really
that.
excited to see my face react to all of these when I look back on
We
it.
should have filmed that bit in slow mo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just for
it'd be
Ori's
like
face.
how many chins?
I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can edit in slow mo.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, so this one we often put a moon gel on as well.
It's
has-
pretty ringy with it.
It's pretty ringy.
Right. I see.
So your moon gel cuts out that. Depending on the snare,
It's also
that one only needs 1 moon gel, but we'll often put a second one, and there's actually like a mathematical equation of putting your moon gel to cut ring.
That's with Remo heads as well. They tend to be quite a bit liver than
Evans.
or even I don't know about Aquarians or anything like that. But
Yeah, I guess we generally stick to Evans or Remo, but
yeah, I mean that's what they're pretty easy to get and they sound real good.
So that's the Black Panther Cherry Bomb, and this was what the fuck was that sound?
Loud.
Yeah.
What?
Loud. It was
Loud.
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 The sound was
Loud.
Can't can't even hit it. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching the season 3, episode 4 of the Cabin podcast, and we'll see you next week with episode 5.
Bye.
And thanks to Joe and Jackson. This is Jackson, by the way.
Yeah. Hello. I think we've introduced me. a
The
few
Goblin,
times.
yeah, that's
the
right.
Goblin, the Ghoul, the Gremlin,
Elf on the Shelf.
Elf on the Shelf, any small mythical creature.
Last name Cox, Goblin Cox.
Yes, that is official. It's on my birth certificate. Goodbye. Have a good night. I'll be here all
We'll
week.
see you guys next week.
Bye.